Hey folks, this is Johnny, and welcome to another Home Studio Trainer Live. Man, it has been an unbelievable week, and I'm so glad to be here. Lots of stress family-wise with both folks in the hospital, but things are looking a little bit better on a couple of angles. So I am happy to be here. The schedule for live streams is going to be a little bit hectic until my mom can come home from the hospital. So I'm kind of going to be juggling things. So please stay. If you're on Patreon, we got 23 patrons over on Patreon. I want to thank everybody who has joined, and it's really, really helping things, and I do appreciate it very much. Also, there are the donations to PayPal that are available for those of you that don't want to do a monthly thing, and everything is working out pretty doggone good. Not as much as I was getting with the old channel, but pretty close, actually. So I do appreciate everyone's support and everyone's help, and I appreciate it. I can't thank you guys enough. So what we're going to do here is I got a whole bunch of questions on Studio 16 between the Thursday show and tonight. And one of the big questions is the video track. How is that working? If I could show some examples. So I'm going to start off with that, if that's not a problem with you guys. All right, let's see. So, yeah, we've already got 11 people in here. Not bad for a midnight show. Appreciate that. John Clark is here. He says, good evening. And Charlie Dillon says, hi, Johnny Gibe. He says he hopes I am well. He says, my question is your fader port working properly regarding the mute and solo buttons, and then and them being able to update the software in real time? You know what? We can check that. I have my fader port 16 over there. I suppose that's something that we can check and see how it works. He says, I sometimes will solo or mute a channel on the fader port, and the channel soloed or muted fine, but it doesn't update in the arrangement on the song page. Now, okay, so now remember, if you're having this trouble, Charlie, with VST instruments, there is something that you need to know, is that the mute button, if this is VST instruments, the mute and solo buttons are only going to update in the mixer, not in the track list, because the track list holds the MIDI and the mixer holds the audio. So on an audio track, if you hit mute or solo, it solos and mutes both. On an instrument track, it's only going to mute the audio. It's not going to mute the MIDI. So it's important to know that the mute and solo buttons in the arrange view are to mute the actual MIDI performance. The mute and solos on an instrument track in the mixer are to mute the audio for those. Now, the reason that is because some VST instruments have multiple audio outs. So sometimes if you have a multiple MIDI channel performance playing, if you don't want to mute the MIDI track because then it mutes everything. Does that make sense? Everybody following me? I hope so, because I just lost me. So let's see. So Lizzie Don Oliver says hello to the people. Charlie Dillon says, but does in the mixing console, right? I've only had this issue since Studio 16. If you go back to Studio 15, you will find it's the same. that the mutant solo buttons are. Oh, there we go. Wow, okay, you're a gem, says Charlie. Yeah, even in all versions since the fader port came out that actually work with Studio One, that's the reason. So it really depends on the VST instrument that you're using and whether you're muting or soloing an audio track. So hopefully that makes sense. So Charlie, go back and test. If I don't have to dig up my fader port, that would be awesome. So I hope that answered that. All right, awesome. So we got 15 people in here. That's pretty darn good for a Saturday night or a Sunday morning, depending on your point of view. All right, so let's see. Rebecca over on Wix. Rebecca, what the heck are you doing up this late? Or this early? Or I don't know. Whichever it is. She says, where's Elvis? Hold on. I'll show you where Elvis is. Give me a second. I have really needed to get Cam 2 up here, so... There we go. So, if we look at camera 2, we can actually say, there he is. Say hi, Elvis. This is where he sits when I do my shows. And he just kind of listens. And as soon as I'm done or I get up out of the chair, he follows me around the basement. And that's Elvis. Very cool. All right. Thank you guys for coming in. I really do appreciate it. Let's see. If there are no more questions, yeah, I smell dog food. I just fed him. It smells like dog food. I don't know how they can eat that stuff. It drives me nuts. All right. So let's see. If you guys have any other questions before I start our video lesson, I will be more than happy to answer those. And that was a great question, Charlie. There a lot of people get confused on that for sure. All right, let's see. What do we got here? I am actually going to go through here. I'm not doing anything on camera just yet. Let's see. HST song template. There it is right there. All right. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think there? For those of you that own the fader port, does that make sense? I think it does. Oh, hey, Preston Browning is here. He's a brand new guy. Preston, thank you for coming in. Hopefully you will find some of the information here useful. Kay Harris is here. He says, good evening, all. And Investor is here. Good to see you, man. I haven't seen you for a while. John Clark. Let's see. Let's go through here. Don Oliver, Tony Cordona, Charlie Dillon, and Sean Aaron is here with the big eyeballs. Thank you. It was just the little icon that he chose there. Ronnie D is here. Mark Holly. And Music to Motion, of course. One of my awesome moderators in here. Tony Cardona. And those are messages from me. See if there's anybody else here. Oh, yeah. So if you want to point a message to me, it's no longer at Home Studio Trainer. It's at Johnny Guy because this is the new channel. All right, let's see. Tony Cardona, he says, hi, GG. I bought an SSD and wanted to know how to set up Studio One so that I can load my older songs and save my new songs to this drive. When I load my old songs, I get the message files are missing. But you know what? I've actually had a lot of people contact me on this. So when it comes to copying songs, there's a couple of misleading videos out there that aren't quite right. It says to just copy the song folder over. Now, if you're moving from an internal drive to an external drive, sometimes, especially on Windows, some of the files don't get moved over when you just right-click, copy, and paste, or move, whatever you're doing there. I have noticed lately that for people moving to new computers, this is becoming an increasingly difficult issue. Okay? So the best way to move a song, it's the long way, but I'm going to tell you guys, it is the best way to move a song from one computer to the other because you'll know you'll get all of the tracks. So, Tony, what you're experiencing is very normal, especially lately with people moving to new drives. Or if you were like me, moving from a PC to a Mac. I realized that I moved all the folders and everything. I got a couple of errors, but didn't really think much of them. And I realized some of the song files got left behind. And I go back to the PC, and there they are. And I go back to the Mac for the files that I copied, and they're not there. So the best way to do this, and I'm just going to go ahead with the questions here, and I'll do the video stuff if we run out of questions, because the video stuff was asked through email, and I want to take care of the live questions here. All right, so if you have a song, let's say my song, Greed. It's loading. Keep that song loading. Yeah, you didn't really want to hear that. Okay, so here's my song. If you want a 100% way to do this successfully so you don't have to worry about missing tracks, is to go to your desktop, create a folder, or you can even do this on the external drive if you have it connected to the current computer, and you can call this folder Song Move. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to Studio One, and we're going to go to File, and we're going to go to Convert To, and we're going to say zip file. So when you actually convert it to a zip file, we're going to go ahead and we're going to explore. There we go. So let's see. I'm going to open this up a little bit. This is important, guys, because this is the only way that I have found so far that this will definitely work. We're going to go to desktop, and then we're going to go to the folder I created called Song Move. And I'm going to save it there. So now, you just got to make sure we can actually lossless. We can use the FLAC files, but we don't want to upload to Sphere. So this is going to copy every part of the song, even the sounds that are being used in the sound sets. And we're going to click OK. So it actually packs that zip file as it goes through with everything in that song. When you do this, you will not have to worry about missing files. So now, here's the cool part. I'm going to open up the song folder, and you can see, there we go. There is the song, and it's a zip folder. Okay? Now, I want you to watch this. I'm going to go to Studio One, and I'm going to close this song. And I'm actually going to close this song. So now, I want you to watch something. I am literally going to take this zip folder, and when you get it on the new machine, you can literally drag this guy right in here, and Studio One is going to open the zip. It's going to open the zip. And if you watch carefully, let's see if we have any missing file issues. Now, of course, I didn't move it to a new machine, but you guys get the general idea. Okay, there it is. It opened the song, and it put it in the recent files. So now if you want, you can resave it, and you can go ahead and delete that zip file if you want. I usually just keep them. But you can see here that, whoops, that's not what I was looking for. You can see here that everything got moved. That is the only 100% way that you know all of your files will get moved over, even the sounds and the sound sets, because it's going to bring them into the pool. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, let's see. My persona says, I find the issue comes up when people have song folders in the non-default place. Yes, that's another thing. That's another one. If you're a person that saves all of your songs to the desktop, you are really, really playing with fire. because then Studio One can sometimes lose the connection with files that are in other places. One of the ways to help that is to make sure that you go to song and make sure you select copy external files. You can do that too. But that doesn't always work either. So if you use the convert to zip, if you're going from one machine to another, if you're going from one hard drive to another, the only 100% way to ensure that all of the files get moved, including the sound sets. Let's say you move the song to a computer without the same sound sets. Since the sound set options are embedded in the song, there's a good chance that they're going to be there even though that sound set is not on that machine. I can't guarantee that 100% because I haven't tested that yet. But doing the zip file, and since you can actually see the option of the sound sets moving, Studio One should be packing that sound set into that song directly, so when you open it up, everything will be there. So if you're, so the original question was from Tony Cardona, and he was saying that he was moving songs from one place to another and losing files. You got to go back and you got to use the convert to zip if you want to make sure. Because going from hard drive to hard drive, going from computer to computer, going from disk to disk, it doesn't always work. I think it works for the most part, but I have gotten so many emails. And when I moved my songs from my PC to my Mac, I had the exact same problem. I had to go back to the PC thing. My daughter didn't delete any of the files. I opened up the songs in that version of Studio One and did the convert to zip, and everything was fine. Hopefully, Tony, that helps. But you're not alone. Let's see. Sean White Jr. says, hello. Let me actually go back to this. There we go. He says, hello from Savannah, Georgia. He says, how do you separate being the artist from the engineer? I am finding the engineering is getting in the way of artistry at the same time. Sean, welcome to home recording. Especially if you are a solo act like I am. I don't really collaborate with a lot of people. Every once in a while I do. I've sent a song to Rob Kane. I've had Michael Johnson send me a couple of things. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get to them with all the craziness in my life right now. But I basically work alone, just like it sounds you are. It is hard. Just know that. It is really hard to do both. And sometimes, as an artist, if you're recording yourself, you're going to find the technology will get in your way. And it's not easy. The way that I separate it is I have one session that's all for tracking. Excuse me. I don't care how it sounds. I just want to make sure that the captures are right, and I want to get all the tracks done. Then I take off that hat and I go make a sandwich, or even I go to bed. Then the next day, I'm an engineer. And then I go ahead and go through the tracks that I've gone, and I keep notes on, okay, that turned out like crap, or that doesn't sound as good as the rest of the tracks. And then I make it a point to shut down for that session and go back in as an artist. It's important for you to keep the two separate, because if you try to mix a song and create the song at the same time, you're going to find yourself very unhappy. And a bug just flew in my eye. It was a gnat. Must be cold outside even for the gnats. So there you go. So Sean, that is my best advice, is to have on a let's say you have the weekend to record. Saturday night you're tracking. You're just going to put them all in there. You're not going to worry about effects. You're not going to worry about panning or anything like that. You're just going to track it. As you stack the tracks, just use the faders a little bit to get your mix where you can hear everything and you can record the next track. Then put it aside. Like I said, make a sandwich, take a nap, walk the dog. I do that a lot now. and or whatever, and then come back to it from an engineering standpoint. That is the only way to really mentally separate it. But mixing and engineering, that takes a long time to learn. I've actually had some really good results with some people that I've shown just how I mix a couple of times, and they go off and they come back with some stellar stuff. And then I have those that still aren't getting it. Do I put the reverb on the insert? Do I put the reverb on a send? Do I put it on a bus? What do I do? So some of that stuff is going to take you a while to really understand how you want to work. But that's the best way to do it. If you got 4 songs, see if you can do this. Track song 1. Next day, track song 2. If you have a really long day, just do all the tracking. Don't worry about mixing. Just get the balances so that you can record all of the tracks on top of it. And then say Sunday, you go ahead and you mix the first song and see what you can do with it. That should take you mentally out of that. That's how I do it. Let's see. Preston Browning is here. He says, I'm having so much trouble losing material. I record the whole song, and when I save it, I go back the next day and several files are missing. Okay, so, Preston, here's one of the things that could be happening. Okay? I get this question a lot, too. If you're working with files from other people, if you're taking samples and stuff from other discs, if you're using tracks and stuff from other drives and you go to save it, and let's say it's a laptop, you go to your friend's house and you track the drums. Okay, and then you have an external drive. If you bring that laptop home to review the drums and you forget to hook up that external drive, all of those things are going to be missing. Now, I'm not saying that you're causing this, but it is a very, very typical issue when it comes to how you're working and how you're doing things. Now, if you're on a computer with shared logins, that could be doing it. Because when another person logs in, if they don't save your session, a lot of your save stuff's going to be gone. If you're working on a computer that you usually use for work, or you're using other applications, like I work for the Illinois Tollway. I'm actually working for a contractor company for the Illinois Tollway, and I have a nice laptop from them. And there was a time at first I said, oh yeah, this is a nice laptop. I'm going to do all my recording on here. That's a bad idea. Because your work laptops or your work computers have applications on them that remove things that they think are viruses. Okay, so now let's get back to your home computer. If you are using certain virus softwares, if you're on a Mac and the Mac doesn't have proper access to certain drives or folders, these are the things that you need to look at. So if you're on a Mac, I don't know what kind of computer you're on, but if you're on a Mac, if you are actually recording a song and Studio One doesn't have access to all folders, you're going to record, it's going to look fine, you're going to reboot, and the files won't be accessible. So look into some stuff from that. I'm really up. If you guys look at the chat right now, I'm far up on the chat list. So I'm going to get to all of the things that I've addressed if you guys have any other questions. So Preston, definitely check into that. If you want to hook up sometime, please let me know. You can see my email address right up here. Send me an email to johnny@hst-homestudiotrainer.com, and we can actually talk one-on-one. If you're on Facebook, just look up Johnny Geib. You'll see my little black and white logo that you see up there in the corner if you're watching this on a video. It's the same thing. Contact me on Facebook, PM me directly, and I'll answer you. All right, so let's see. Music to Motion, trying to help him out as well. Looks like he's saying very similar stuff to what I'm doing. And Music to Motion says, does export to zip also copy the external files into the media folder automatically? Yes, it does. But it's probably a good idea to trigger the copy external files anyway, but it should. It should. I say that with bated breath. Neil Thompson is here, and we got 20 people in here. 20 people on a Saturday night at midnight. What? Awesome. I think it's awesome, but what's wrong with you folks? Anyway, so Neil Thompson says, no, we did not want to hear that by all or any means. Not quite sure what you're referring to. Oh, it's all good to hear. Okay. Thank you. All right. He's referring to what I tried to sing there. So John Clark says that is brilliant. Thank you, Johnny. You are very welcome. So good. I'm hoping some of this information helps. Another good one to ask, too, is Rich Cresswell. He goes under the name here, My Personas. He says if you need to change the computer, just copy over the whole of the Studio One folder that contains your song folders. And you know what, Rich? I thought that would work, too. But it did not work for me when I did it to move to my Mac. Most of the songs were fine, but some of the stuff got left behind. And I went through every song and I did the copy external files. So while I agree with you, I have seen situations where just copying that whole folder isn't working. I don't know why. Because I had some of the issues there. All right, Charlie Dillon says, man, that's cool. Awesome. Let's see. I find the issue comes up when people don't have the folders in the default places. That is correct. Let's see. My thing just jumped here now. All right, Don Oliver. He says, what about programs like Easy Drummer? Okay. That is the only exception. And I should have said this when I talked about the zips. I know that the zip files do not copy third-party plugins over. So what you're going to have to do is install. I mean, if you're just moving it from one hard drive to the other, but it's the same computer, no problem, because Easy Drummer should be installed in the C drive. If you're moving from computer to computer, all of the information will move, so once you actually install Easy Drummer on the new machine, it'll open up normally. Hopefully that makes sense. Neil Thompson says, yes, My Personas, I am definitely afraid to do, any messing with all of the organization. Don't want to have to deal with whatever. And now here is the public service announcement. If you don't arrange your folders and locations when you first install on the machine, in some ways you're kind of stuck. If you want to actually move sound sets to an external drive, if you want to move some programs to an external drive and things like that, it is not an easy task. I've been able to do it for people, but it is not an easy task. So if you are working with libraries like Easy Drummer and Native Instruments and IK Multimedia and stuff like that, you can move the sound libraries to the external drive, but the plugins themselves should be installed on the C drive. Some may disagree with me. I'm just going by my personal experience. If you want to move the plugin itself to an external drive, you have to uninstall it and then run the installer again and select those folders when you install it. But remember, if you start installing programs on an external drive, you better make sure that that drive is hooked up every time you power up that machine, because you're breaking connections. And I've actually seen people do that by accident. They shut down the machine, they hook up the drive, say, oops, I forgot to hook up the drive, and then they fire it up and then the program doesn't work anymore. So just be careful. That's more prevalent on a PC than a Mac, though. All right, so let's see. Don Oliver, let me know if that answered your question. Neil Thompson is talking to Sean White. He says, I feel your pain. Yes, exactly. All right, so Tony Cardona says, I lost my audio feed, but I got the way to do it. Thanks so much. Can't hear any audio? Really? I'm not quite sure how you lost your audio feed because I still got levels here. All right, let's see. So Tony also adds, he says, wonderful method. I just tried it and it works. Yay. I'm going to subscribe now. Good. I hope you do. You're worth every penny. Thank you. It's going to be worth something. Investor. Oh, it just vanished. Okay. Let's see. Preston Browning says, these are my songs that I recorded and I just saved them and the next day they're gone. All right. There is some underlying issue. If you're on Windows or a Mac, I know it's not Studio One. I've used Studio One and I've done this kind of thing for Studio One users. I've got 20 or 30 clients who I actually log into every month and I do all of their system maintenance. And I have never seen that problem be Studio One cause. I have seen virus software, malware software. When you actually fire up the program again the next day, some of like malware bytes and things like that, they think that some of these files are viruses and they quarantine them. Now, I'm just guessing because I don't know your actual situation and how this is working, but I have a feeling that there's either something wrong with your file destinations or something is preventing certain rights from Studio One from accessing these files the next day. And again, like I said, it's just a guess. I would actually have to see what's happening there. And you can go ahead, send an email to Johnny at hst-homestudiotrainer.com and we can hook up at some point. All right, let's see. What else do we got here? Music to Motion says 22 watching and 13 likes. Hit the thumbs up. Yes, please do, guys. I really appreciate it. Wow, 22 people in here. That's amazing. All right, Preston says thank you so much. John Clark posted and then removed it. All right, so let's see. Rich, he actually says if you moved from Windows to a Mac, you would have issues. Yes. As the macro presets and other save things are in a different format, correct? But the things that I lost, Rich, were actual song files, WAV files that should have copied over but didn't. All right, let's see. John Clark says sound sets. All right, he also says sound sets that can be saved in the native system hard drive. Sometimes, okay, ladies and gentlemen, may I present my 3-year-old reading skills? All right. John Clark says sound sets can be saved in the native system hard drive sometimes and not get copied over with the general Studio One folder. That was a problem I had. Yeah, and sometimes it'll add a second location. You think everything's fine. You remove that location and stuff's missing. Don Oliver says thanks. Preston Browning says, I will email you for sure. Okay, perfect. Okay, I'm a little stretched on time, but I will respond tomorrow to the emails. I'm really far behind because I have to spend my afternoons at hospitals and stuff for my folks. So please be patient. The best way to contact me, if you're not on Facebook, but you can get Facebook Messenger, I have this phone with me 100% of the time. If I don't answer, I'm sleeping. So you can contact me that way too. If you're a Patreon member, and you're part of the top tier, you'll get a direct phone number from me. So for those of you that are interested in that, is that a bribe? Absolutely. All right. So Tony Cardona says there are so many of us here because we are too old to party. Yes. You know, with all the stress that I've been under, one of the things my son and I did last night is there's a little bar called PS Pub. And I've been under a lot of stress, and he's been terribly worried about me and, my stress level and stuff. And we just went there. They had Halloween celebration, and they had karaoke. And there was just something about the atmosphere that really relaxed me and calmed me. But one of the things that we noticed is I think my son was probably the youngest person in there. It was all folks. I would say, what's that? Yeah, my son's in the other room playing video games. But I think most of the people there were pretty damn close to my age and older. And there was also a particular group there that shouldn't have been singing, but we won't go ahead and explore that any further. But it was fun. It was fun. I hadn't been in a situation like that maybe a couple of times before. But in the last 30, 40 years, it's been that long. I lost my voice 12 years ago, and I haven't been in a bar since, except for one time before when my son went, and then this time. All right, let's see. Neil Thompson says, yes, sometimes super high security and anti-malware, antivirus stuff can mess up the functionality of a computer just about as badly as malware and viruses. Yes, exactly. And I've heard a lot of people accuse the malware and virus companies of actually creating the malware and the viruses that their company actually defeats. So there you go. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. See how that turns out. Let's see. Preston Browning says, understandable. I have Messenger. Thank you. Okay, just message me directly. Just do a PM. And just type in Johnny Geib when you do the search. I think there's a couple of other. I think there's a Reverend John Geib up there somewhere, but you'll notice my icon, so that should be fine. So please go ahead and do that because I have that with me all the time, and I will answer. Okay. Oh, and if you have sent a message on Messenger and you didn't get an answer, send an email to this thing here because Facebook is, well, Facebook. So, enough said there. Let's see. Tony Cardona is laughing at John Clark. Neil Thompson says it's just that we're at the age where we consider this a party. Yeah. Well, since we got 25 people in here, this is insane on a Saturday night, Sunday morning. If you consider this a party, yay. I think it's great. And I think everybody here in the chat would have fit in with the crowd at the bar last night. So that's I feel right at home here. All right, so let's see. Mark Holly says it's only 10:30 here in California. I'm taking care of my wife after surgery. Mark, I hope she's doing okay. I got two parents in the hospital, so I can definitely relate. That's for sure. Okay, so very good. Mark says he's just kind of lying low. Well, you know what? I didn't think that these Saturday morning or Saturday night, Sunday morning shows would really take off. But lately, I've had pretty much a full house. I consider 30 people a full house. So there you go. All right, so let's see. What else do we got here? Keith Chadwick just checked in. Keith Chadwick, one of the people. Him and Michael Johnson especially, and Louis from Alps Media. These guys have really put forth a lot of effort into helping me get subscribers. Let me just publicly say, especially to the three of them, thank you so much for the support. I know that we haven't had a chance to sit down and really talk about things. I really I have to wait until this drama with the family gets over with and everything. But to Keith, Mike, and Louie, and Johnny Lipsham, and Personas, thank you for the support in all of this for me rebuilding my channel. Especially Personas, too, because they put up a link in the Studio One newsfeed for people to make people aware of what happened and to resubscribe. It has been fantastic. I have almost 1,700 subscribers again. That's just in 2 weeks, guys. So thank you, guys. I really do appreciate it. And a big thanks for the people that are going to Patreon. So now, let me tell you, I had 29 members of the old YouTube channel. Believe it or not, I now have 23 3. All of those people, almost all of those people, have moved over to Patreon. I'm offering the same levels of when you join, when you become a member. You can see here that at 23 patrons, I have $146 a month. Thank you to you guys. Some of these guys are only doing $2 a month. A couple of them are doing $9 a month. It is awesome. I got the hiccups now. See, I get overly excited. So if you are willing to offer monthly support, please, I'm going to put the link in the chat. Please go here and become a patron. If you look here, there are posts for the shows that are upcoming, and there's even going to be some videos that will not be available on YouTube. So if you're a patron, you get these. If you go for the top tier, you get a direct phone number, and I will be doing live streams on Patreon directly for you guys for teaching and classes that are all free. If you're a patron, I suppose if you're paying for the patron, it's not free, but you guys get the. So in other words, if you're a top tier patron, I'm not going to charge you more for those live streams. There we go. Is that the right way to say it? I think that's the right way to say it. So now, if by chance you're really not into the monthly thing and you would just like to make a donation every now and then to help me rebuild the channel, you can actually do that through PayPal at this link. Beautiful. So there you go. Those are the two links to help me rebuild and support the channel all at the same time. And yes, all one-on-one calls for the top tier of Patreon are free. You got a problem, you get a 45-minute session at no cost through Zoom. We can go through your problems. I just did one for a brand new patron earlier tonight, and it worked out beautifully. So if you're interested in the top tier, please go ahead and do that. So thank you again to everybody. So let me see what else we got here. Whoa, the chat just jumped here. Let me go back to the chat and where I'm at. I love this, you guys being able to see what I'm seeing in the chat. So when I miss something, you guys can call me stupid. There you go. Let's see as I go through. Music to Motion. Excellent. He says, we love you, JG. No worries. We got your back. Yes, you guys do. I wouldn't be where I'm at right now after only a couple, 3 weeks if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you. All right, let's see. Preston Browning says, saw that it was really nice. Good. Let's see. David Anthony is here. That's a new name. Welcome if you are new here. He said it's lazy Sunday afternoon in Oz. Okay, David, well, welcome. I appreciate it. Sean Carr is here. He is saying hello to Michael. And there are my links. Tony Cardona says, JG, did you ever used to work with David from home? Home recording made easy. I saw an old live stream with him and working on a mix. That's a really touchy subject. David and I no longer converse. For a couple of reasons, and I don't want to make a big YouTube spat over it. So we'll just leave it at that. Some of the folks here know what happened, and I really don't want to make a big deal of it. Now I'm trying to rebuild the channel. So no, David and I no longer work together. I did a little bit of training with him on Studio One and setting up his Personas gear, and we had a really, really bad falling out. So, but yes, I have worked with him. I mean, he's very knowledgeable. He's got a great channel. And when we started working together, he was doing just live sessions in his basement. And I convinced him to be a competitor. I was hoping to work with him further, but it just didn't work out. But no, he's got a great channel. I can't deny that for sure. All right, so let's see. Neil Thompson says, remember back when I showed you Max Coney's Studio One Production Challenge live stream? Did you ever did you see the Max is the actual producer of the Studio One demo song. Yes, I did. I watched those videos. That guy is incredible. Way, way over. He is. Let's see. Is he out of my league or am I out of his? He's way more of a professional, and I don't. I was thinking on reaching out to him, but no, I don't think that anything that I do here can even come close to what he's doing. He's got a great channel, and those videos that he did on that Studio One demo song were absolutely fantastic. They were, gosh, I learned so much from those videos. So, but thank you for pointing me in his direction. All right, let's see. Tony Cardona says, sorry, Gigi, my bad. Oh, no. I don't mind that you asked. I just, no. Rebecca said, is that a touchy subject? No, it's not. It's just a shame. Because I really liked working with him. And, I don't want to go into the things right now that happened, but it was a shame because he really built up his channel and he far exceeded subscribers and views on his videos. I couldn't even come close to the amount that he was actually putting stuff out there. So it was really good to see him succeed despite our issues. Neil Thompson says, Max is a super pro for sure, but Johnny, you sure, but he says, you, sir, are the host with the most. I watch your show more often. Well, I appreciate that, Neil. Thank you. I have a lot of fun doing this. I really do. And even with all the personal stuff going on with my family right now, which is just, people being sick, this is my stress reliever. And it pains me every time that I have to postpone a show. So I appreciate your guys' understanding. I have to see what's happening with Monday because I don't know where my mom and my dad are going to be. So, just keep an eye on, if you are a member, if you are a subscriber to the channel, you will get a notification with a good amount of warning on whether or not I can do the show that night. So just bear with me. All of this stuff will be resolved soon, I hope, and at least I'll have a normal schedule back once we find out where my dad is going to finally go and if my mom is going to have to go into 24-hour care. We don't know yet. Right now they're both stable, but the juggling match, and let there be no doubt, the United States healthcare system is fucked up. They are fighting us on every level. And we're trying to, sorry for the language, folks, but it is midnight and there should be no kids watching, so there you go. All right, let's see. Music Commotion says, you working tonight? Yes. Let's see. If not, come and join the Zoom after. I posted a few. I'll try to, even though I'm working. I'll try to. So my boss gave me the night off last night, so I got to make it up. All right, Tony Cardona says, my stress reliever is Mr. Bud. You want to know something? With 22 people in here, I don't drink any alcohol. I never have. I've taken sips here and there, and of course my son likes his beer and his wine, but I've never been a drinker. With everything I'm going through right now, if I was, I don't think it would be a good thing. I am a very, very habit-forming person. And I'm just glad I never took up smoking or any kind of drugs. I never smoked marijuana, and I never drank alcohol. I was always a designated driver when I was younger with my friends. So I'm glad I don't go that route. But, my son drinks a little bit when he gets stressed out, things like that. It's cool. He handles his booze well. He really, really does. So, I've got a good example, if I were to ever delve into that. But, All right, so let's see. Music to Motion says, Don't get me started on the healthcare after going through what I've gone. If anybody can relate to what I've been through, it's music to motion. I don't know of anybody who I can think of that knows what I'm talking about more than him. And that was with his wife. So, yeah, it's just as hard having both my parents with issues right now. But they just don't want to work with you sometimes. And insurance? Don't even get me started on insurance. Okay, but that's not why you're here. All right, Neil Thompson, let's not get political discussions going the chat now. No political stuff, guys. No political stuff. Yeah, I'm just talking about healthcare, that's all. All right, so let's see. John Clark says, Johnny, you dodged a bullet there. Good for you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Well, because I learned early on my limitations. You know, suffering from a lot of stuff as a kid, ADHD, Tourette's syndrome, and stuff like that. I have other conditions where those other things added in would just make life miserable. So, I mean, despite everything that I'm going through right now, I've got a pretty good life. Things are stressful. Money is not here. But I'm pretty happy with where I'm at right now. And I have a great marriage of almost 38 years now. And in 38 years, my wife and I don't fight. We don't bicker. We disagree on certain things. But we've never had a fight. Never. We've raised our voices a couple of times, but it's usually because of something on the outside. You know, something that we can't control. 26 people in here, 23 likes. Listening to me get a little deeper. Oh my gosh, is it almost 1 o'clock? You guys have asked some fantastic questions today. So if I missed anything in the chat, you guys can see right here in the chat, there's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, I almost swore again. I got to keep that out of there. So if I missed your question, please ask it again because it wasn't intentional. Let's see. Preston Browning says, you're awesome, brother. And yes, the U.S. system is totally messed up. I just went through similar situations with my mom who recently passed and father in a nursing home with Alzheimer's. And you know what? Those are very similar to what I'm going through. So I do appreciate the understanding there. So that is extremely cool. Let's see. Congrats on making the marriage last that long. And this is not, or this is now an uncommon thing. Yes, my wife and I are very lucky. And, you know, she has to put up with a lot with me. So sometimes it's very one-sided, and sometimes I can be a real ass. I don't, mistreat her or anything, but I can be a real ass. I'll have her on the show sometime. All right, let's see. Didn't mean to imply that alcohol was... Oh, no, Tony. No. Now, you see, my wife and I don't drink or smoke or anything like that, and my son does. And that's cool. It wasn't anything he learned from us. It was just something that he tried and he likes doing. So don't worry. You didn't raise any red flags or anything like that. This is the Sunday night show. The conversation is kind of open. I just don't do politics because it can get very meh. So, you know, I consider you guys family. I really do. I mean, it's a small group. There's only 25 people in here. It's not like I have 10 or 15,000 people that come in to see my live streams. I would love it if I could get that kind of viewership, but it's a small group and I consider it family. All right, let's see. Neil Thompson says, excellent attitude. Money does not bring happiness, and the happiness really is a choice. Boy, you know what? I like the way you said that. Happiness is really a choice. I don't think people get that. It's easy to be sad. It's easy to be depressed and hate everything. Am I getting too deep? Happiness is a choice. You choose to be happy. It's way too easy to fall into depression. I'm a victim of it. My son is. My mom has been for many, many years. But you can choose to be happy. And it's hard, man. Like right now, I'm going through everything that I'm going through. And some of you guys know what's happening, know the details. It's hard. It's hard to come on the show here sometimes and actually look happy. But part of it is because I know you guys understand. And like I said, you guys are part of my family, even the new guys. If you guys can sit, for a couple of times, and I usually save this discussion for the end on Saturday nights. I don't do this in my videos, and I don't do this on my weekly live streams too much. So Sunday mornings are just a little bit more relaxed. But I do consider you guys family. So there you go. John Clark says, alcohol is just a short conversation that I like to have from time to time. You're right. It's never the answer. Yeah, very cool. Neil Thompson says, that made me literally laugh out loud and fall back in my chair. I can be a real ass. I'll have her on the show sometime. Yeah. No, I try to be very transparent. And anybody who knows me, this is how I am in real life. When we had the only one Studio One meetup just before the pandemic, I had dozens of comments from people like, holy cow, you're exactly the same here as you are on your live streams. How else can you be? I've seen some really disturbing commercials now on some of these woke stations and stuff like that have these commercials where they show people doing live streams and they say, don't do yourself. That's terrible advice. Don't you guys think? Don't do yourself? And then they show people like in different costumes and stuff. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just not hip enough to get it. I don't know. I sometimes put my foot in my mouth. Actually, I do quite often. And John Clark says, but it's not easy being green. Yeah, right. Hence Kermit. And John Clark wants to know, how does that taste, Tony? How does that taste, Tony? Oh, yes. Sometimes I put my foot in my mouth enough to get to my lower knee. And I didn't think I could bend that way. But sometimes I even surprise myself. 23 people in here and 24 likes. I really appreciate you guys coming. So we had a really good session for answers and stuff that you guys needed to know. If you guys have any further questions or you just want to chat, go ahead and go to Johnny at hst-homestudiotrainer.com. Shoot me an email if you need help. I'll be happy to, we can do a Zoom session. If you are a patron, hold on a second. Let me see if I can do this. If you are a patron over at patreon.com and you want to support me monthly, go ahead and do so by becoming a patron. There are 3 different levels of what you need. The memberships. Let's see. The memberships are dedicated member. That's $2 a month. There is awesome dedicated members. That is $6 a month. And then the big one, super dedicated members. There are 15 patrons in that one. That's where you get all of the goodies and everything before that. And, of course, if you are on either of the other 2 tiers, you can always reach me through email, and I'll be happy to help you with whatever you need. And I do appreciate you guys supporting the channel. That is patreon.com, and I think I'm going to keep that even when I get everything back from YouTube. But that's going to take about a year before I can monetize my videos again and have the memberships back and super chats. I miss the super chats. I used to love the super chats. All right, you're always nice to hang out with, Johnny, and that's why we're all here. Thank you for that, John Clark, and I think on that note, I'm going to get going. I want to thank everybody for coming out. Yeah. Rebecca says, you're wearing a long sleeve shirt. I never see you in a long sleeve shirt. Yeah, this is my thermal shirt because I'm going to walk the dog here in a few minutes. So hopefully you guys got something out of this. I really appreciate your patronage. So please patronize me. That sounds like a ridiculous thing to say. And thank you guys for the understanding and the kind thoughts. And Neil Thompson says, in general entertainment, people can choose to present 100% of their genuine selves or 100% of a created character or anything in between, whatever works for the entertainer. Okay, that is a very good point. You want me to dress like Batman on Monday? Well, if I can do the show on Monday, I will do that. I have a nice mask that I can wear. All right, folks, that's going to be it for me. These are going to be my last few words. Later. Hey, come on. Why does it pause like that? There you go.
Because you are an HST subscriber, you are automatically part of our Advantage program, enabling you to score great deals on Personas gear from Alps